And the audio is on. She just can't think of any more.
Alright, I'm going to go ahead here and get started. Welcome to the Penguin Feeding. My name is Melissa. I'm a presenter here at the California Academy of Sciences. I'm so excited to have you here today with some of my favorite animals. I love the African penguin. And what's interesting about our endangered African penguin is that their habitat, their human-built habitat, is a little bit different than what I normally imagine when I think of penguins. What do you normally see in your mind when you think of penguin? Snow, right? Snow, ice, cold. But these guys are sitting on a nice sunny beach, having a great time. Looks warm in there. And that is because they are from southern Africa, where it is nice and toasty. I think over there now it's about in the 70s. I think that is mirrored here in their enclosure. So because it is so warm, we don't have any of those ice or snow or anything like that going on inside of our habitat. Now, I did mention that these penguins were endangered. We have lost about 90% of the population in southern Africa. So having institutions like this are extremely important at making sure that they have enough room in order to breed and continue on in their species. We're part of several programs. We're part of something called AZA SAFE. The SAFE stands for Save Animals from Extinction. And that's a program that's sort of like a dating service for penguins. They'll actually do a genetic analysis of our penguins and see if there is some diversity in there they can compare to other penguins to make sure that when they do breed, they are not having a genetic bottleneck, so that their penguins are as viable and as resilient as possible when they do return to the wild.
At penguinsonly.com.
See, our penguins are diving around right now, having a really good time. Our penguins have a lot of really great adaptations that they use in order to swim. Do you see how when they dive down, there's all those bubbles that are coming out? Excellent. So here in a second, let's welcome our awesome biologist, Amy.
You just told us to look underwater. Now you want us to watch Amy. Is she underwater? Doesn't look like it. Look at them fly. Look at them fly. And they say penguins can't fly. But I see proof to the contrary. Of Grounded since 2019, it is still 1960 underwater. That's the way the penguins like it. Excited about.
So those anchovies and sardines are being overfished by us, and we're just taking too many of those fish out of the oceans and not leaving enough for these guys to eat, and that's one of the main reasons why they're an endangered species. So everything that we feed here at the Academy is sustainably caught, so we're not impacting those populations of fish or animals that eat those fish.
Excellent. Has anyone ever been to the Monterey Bay Aquarium and seen the Seafood Watch cards or the app? Well, this is an amazing app. It's got a lot of information. It's sort of like a red, yellow, green light system that can tell you what fish you're ordering and whether they're sustainable or not. I recently downloaded the app, and whenever I use it, it's like I'm giving a penguin a little high five. Because what that is that's allowing more food in the ecosystem for penguins to go ahead and eat. I also have cards with me if you would like to grab some at the end of our program today. So we know that we're feeding them amazing sustainable fish, just a little bit different than what they eat normally, but you're hand feeding them. Why aren't we just leaving the bucket out and having it be a free-for-all?
So we're hand feeding them because we want to make sure that all of the birds are getting everything that they need. So I fed all of my vitamins out today, so I want to make sure that each bird is getting a specific fish. And that's really important for us to make sure that they're getting everything that they need nutritionally, and then that each bird is eating as well.
Excellent. Now, speaking a little bit more about our conservation efforts with these penguins, I was talking a little bit about the dating service that we're a part of, where we're able to connect with different zoos and different aquariums to make sure that we have a lot of genetic diversity in our population. I know that here at the museum, we do breed penguins. Do we have any penguins actively sitting on eggs right now?
We don't have any right now. It is kind of the middle of breeding season, though, so hopefully we'll get some eggs soon. But we do have one juvenile that hatched earlier, that's January, so last year, but a part of this breeding season.
Excellent. And is it easy to spot that juvenile?
No, she's actually not on exhibit right now.
Oh, well, I do notice that there is one penguin that looks slightly different than the rest of the penguins. Why is that?
Yeah, so he is, where is he? He's somewhere, he's probably in the water. He has kind of a silvery gray coloration than the black and white that the adults have. So you can see him, he's swimming right here next to me. And he's 1 year old, he'll turn one, I think a week from today, or a week from tomorrow, something like that. And so the juveniles look different than all the adults do.
Well, happy birthday to that penguin. Looks like they're about to round that bend here pretty soon. Now, I've heard that there's something called a catastrophic molt. What is that with penguins?
So African penguins and penguins in general go through a catastrophic molt, and it's a process of them replacing their feathers. So the bird that's kind of right at the front right there, she's about to go through that molt probably next week. And I don't know if you can tell, but she's a little bit chunkier than normal. Her wings are really swollen. Her feathers are a little disheveled. And so her new feathers are growing in underneath that. And she's gaining kind of a lot of water weight, so she'll push out all those old feathers, and then her new feathers are growing in underneath that.
She's unlikely to find a mate on penguinsonly.com because of this.
They have 2 layers of feathers, don't they?
Yeah, they have the outer black and white layer that you see, and then they have kind of a more fluffy, downy layer that's closer to their skin that helps to keep them warm. So it's kind of like wearing a fleece and then a raincoat over that.
So they won't eat during that period of time when they're going through that molt?
Yeah, so they will eat a lot right beforehand, and then especially out in the wild, they won't eat during that period because they're not waterproof, so they're not going in the water. We'll still offer them food here just to see if they want to eat, but most of the time they don't want to eat anything.
Excellent. So that's one of the reasons why we track diligently what they're eating and what they're not, so we can know if there's maybe a molt coming up, maybe there's an egg coming along. There's different things that it can diligently what they're eating and what they're not, so we can know if there's maybe a molt coming up, maybe there's an egg coming along. There's different things that it can tell us, and tells us a lot about their health. So some of the data that we keep track of for all of our individual penguins are to maintain their health here in our human-built habitat. Now, this habitat is based off of a specific beach. It's based off a place called Boulder Beach in southern Africa. You can see an image of it right here, and we do our best to make sure it truly matches that area. And in fact, what temperature is it in there right now, Amy?
Right now it's about 65 degrees or so, and we do fluctuate the temperature based on the season. So it goes up to about 80 degrees in the summer, and then right now it's our coolest temperature at 65.
We'll actually even turn on some sprinklers to make it rain a little bit in there. So they have ample opportunity to sort of have those healthy changes in seasons, and we'll also change the lights so they can have day and night. So we do collect a lot of data on our penguins, and we also want to make sure that our penguins are living a full and enriched life, and so we have different enrichments planned for them. What are some ways that we enrich the lives of our penguins in our exhibit?
So you mentioned that sprinkler for rain will also give them nesting material that they can bring into their nest boxes. We will kind of break up the territories here with rocks and logs and things. We'll play music, we'll play different birds vocalizations, so different things like that, and we'll do something different every day.
Excellent. So
Lullaby of Birdland is a favorite.
Do you know the penguins by sight, or how do you tell who's who?
So I can tell all the birds apart by their facial features. That's actually the easiest way for me to tell them apart. But the easiest way for you guys is to look at their wing bands. So all of the males are banded on the right, all of the females are on the left. And if you see two with the same color, one on the right, one on the left, that means that that's a bonded pair or a couple.
Excellent. It's about that time. Does anyone here have any questions for our biologist about the African penguins? Anything that you're wondering?
Or for penguins about the biologists.
I've got a question. When they are brooding on an egg, is it only the females that sit on the egg, or do they alternate, males and females both take turns caring for the egg? How does that work?
It'll kind of depend on the couple. We have some couples where the male will prefer to sit on it, some couples the female will prefer to sit on it, others where they kind of alternate each day. But a majority of the time they will alternate and do 50-50, but it depends on the couple and what they work out themselves.
And if they do alternate, that's a chance for them to actually go out and have a break and find their food and come back?
Yeah, so they want to make sure that they're getting a chance to eat, unlike the emperor penguins where the male will be with the egg the entire time and the female will be out getting food. These guys, because they are so close to shore, they can just alternate and exchange.
Now we're seeing a penguin coming close to us right now that's really gulping down that fish. I don't see them chewing or breaking it apart. How do penguins eat?
Yeah, so they don't have teeth or hands to help them eat. They have a bunch of bristles that are on their tongue and on the sides of their mouth that point backwards to help guide the fish down the back of their throat. So that's a really important adaptation that they have.
I could eat so much pizza if I had a mouth like that. That would be amazing. What other adaptations do penguins have in order to live in their habitat of Southern Africa?
So they have what's called a nictitating membrane. That's a clear membrane that will come over their eye that will help them see pretty much equally as well above the water as below.
The nictitating membrane, it's like being able to have your own swim goggles all the time. You can slide over your eyes for protection and so you can actually see. And they also have something called bicoloring. So you can see that our penguins have this nice black color on their back and that white color on the front. If you think of a lot of different animals that live in the ocean, you can kind of see that as well. Seagulls also have it. I think it lives in sort of a monocolored three-dimensional space. And that's because if you imagine a penguin swimming through the water and you're looking at it from above and down, that black is going to blend in really well with the darkness of the water below. Whereas if it's the other way around, if you're underneath and you're looking up, the white of their bellies is going to blend in very well with the light of the sky. Does anyone have any questions for a biologist? I mean, I've got a ton, that's all right. How long can a penguin hold its breath for?
They can hold their breath for about 2 to 2.5 minutes in order to find their food.
And how long do they stay in the water for? So if I'm a penguin, I'm in Southern Africa, I'm hungry, I'm looking for some food, how long would I usually be hunting for?
They're usually diving to about 100 feet to find their food, and that 2.5 minutes will definitely get them down there, and then they'll kind of pop back up to the surface to get some air and then dive back down again.
Excellent. Now I see sometimes they'll sort of like nip at each other. Are they territorial?
Yeah, they're very territorial. It's pretty much like if you have multiple children or if you have siblings, you're kind of always fighting over toys, or this is my side of the room, that's your side of the room. So it's very normal behavior. It's just it comes natural to them.
That's excellent. Now I like to make sure I've got my space nice and protected, just like a penguin. We've got a lot in common. Excellent. Well, how long do penguins live for?
There's actually a really big difference between out in their natural environment and then in here. So they normally live to about 12 or 15 years, and then in here they can live double or triple that lifespan because there's no predators in here, pretty much an endless supply of food. We can take care of any illnesses or
Except for the
injuries that they
sexual
might have.
predators
And our
that
oldest is
we
almost
try to not
35.
allow near the younger penguins.
30, so 10 years only in the wild and 35 years here where they have some wonderful care taking care of them. So that's a really big impact. Do you have any other questions about penguins? That's all right. I'll have one last question. I know that, I see one back there. Oh, no, sorry. So I know that birds have hollow bones in order to fly in the air, and I'm a scuba diver, so I know that buoyancy is a big issue and I have to put weights on. How do these penguins swim so nicely?
So because they don't fly, they don't have that hollow honeycomb bone structure. They have more of a solid or dense bone structure, and that really helps them to get down into the water to kind of propel themselves down there and get to those deeper depths to find that fish.
Excellent. So they've got solid bones, they've got that bicoloration on them, and they have those really hard flippers that are able to swim like a fish. Excellent. Thank you so much for coming today to our penguin feeding. We're so happy to have you here. Again, if you want to help our endangered African penguins, there's a few things that you can do. First off, just coming here today and seeing this program and learning more about these awesome animals is the biggest way. Knowledge is power. And choosing sustainable options as far as your fishing is concerned is another great way to help the African penguins. My name is Melissa. I'll be staying afterwards for about 5 minutes to answer any more questions. I've got some cool artifacts to show you about penguins as well. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, everyone.
My house, but I'll have a look inside. Bro, that's not your house. Move.